Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. We are going to hop right into the show. I got a couple great topics for you guys. And as we all know, the Philadelphia Eagles are the winners of Super Bowl 59. They played a great game, and the second Super Bowl is headed to the city of brotherly love, led by Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, and the great Nicholas Sirianni. Now, I had to be honest. Okay, we're gonna jump straight into it. I owe an apology to first Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I talked so much crap about you. I said that you couldn't play quarterback. You weren't able to be the reason why your team won the ball game. But you shut me up last night. You shut me up this season. You went out there. You balled out. You played exceptionally well. You led your team. You were the legit reason why, again, that your team won. Well, not even won, but played well in the Super Bowl. You scored 35 points 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, and this year you scored 40. And you were a caveat to that. You were part of the reason why. Jalen Hurts, I crapped you all the time, saying that you was never going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Today, you cemented yourself as a top 10. You are one of the 6 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl championship. You've won a lot of playoff games. You've had a lot of playoff success. And when you show up when it matters most, at the end of the ball game. You're clutch. That was the knock on you going into Alabama. You got benched for Tua Tagovailoa. Nick Saban always says you had to become a better passer. But yesterday, you cemented yourself as a legend in the National Football League. And obviously, you're the best quarterback in the division right now. I mean, obviously, we got Jayden Daniels is still in that division. Talent-wise, he's way better than Jalen Hurts talent-wise. We're going to get that out of the door. But give respect to Jalen Hurts. He is the best quarterback in the division as we speak. Now, for my quarterback, he's got a lot of work to do. And next, Nicholas Sirianni. This is the one I really don't want to apologize to that much. You still don't do anything. You know, you're still annoying. You're still obnoxious. But yet, you were able to galvanize the troops. You were a leader of men. With all the drama with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and the defense, you put all that to the side. You said, boys, let's just go outside and play some football. Let's win us a Super Bowl. Be great in the playoffs. Because I had them losing in the second round of the playoffs, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl, by the way. That's just part of me. Because I despise the Eagles. I didn't even want them to win. But credit to where credit is due. You showed up and you were able to galvanize the troops, and you had a great game plan for the Super Bowl, and they played exceptionally well. Now back to the task at hand. After I get my little apology out of the way, we're going to talk about the game itself, because this was shades of the Super Bowl 3 years ago against Tom Brady, or 4 years ago against Tom Brady for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was awful. The Chiefs themselves were awful. When I say that this game was single-handedly just not even uncharacteristic of the Kansas City Chiefs all year. Have the Kansas City Chiefs played great all year? Absolutely not. They had, 17 or 18 only winning by one score, 18 wins winning by one score this season. A lot of people say that's not a recipe just for stability, but you did not expect going into this game against Philly. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and just clear the air. I did pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win by one score, because that's the way that the season has gone all year for them. But you did not go into this game thinking that Philadelphia was going to be up 34-0. Literally. It was a beatdown. Straight masterclass by the Philadelphia Eagles on both sides of the ball. Offensive line, defensive line, quarterback play. I mean, defensive defensive backs. Cooper DeJean had a pick six. Zach Bond out there looking like a ballerina. Extended grab. It was just horrible for the Chiefs. I felt bad for Patrick Mahomes. It literally, again, shades of the past Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, because that defensive line from Philadelphia was humming Patrick Mahomes all game. They moved Joe Thuney. I think he was from left guard, and he moved on the left tackle. Josh Sweat. He was marking Joe Thuney. And it caused Pat Mahomes' timing to be off. His rhythm was off. I knew early on, I could tell that Patrick Mahomes was antsy because his throwing motion was not right. His motor skills and his mechanics were off balance. You could tell when Patrick Mahomes was going to throw the ball, his feet were past shoulder width apart, not a good base, and he was trying to throw the ball as hard as he can. He was very inaccurate, a lot of terrible and horrible passes. This is no exaggeration. Single-handedly, the worst game Patrick Mahomes has played in his career that I can remember. Okay, I've been able to, when I started watching football, I've been able to keep up with a lot of Patrick Mahomes. I cannot definitively say that I've ever seen a game that was worse than this one that he played in. Really. I mean, when I say I've never watched a Chiefs game to where they had 0 points going into halftime, didn't even get but probably one first down, and if they even got a first down, didn't even have one play in the opponent's field of territory. I had notes in this game, okay? I don't know if you guys can see it, but I literally have it here. Chiefs offense, one play in the offenses on the opponent's territory at the end of the third quarter. That's how bad this game was offensively for Patrick Mahomes. And we got to just look at it from this lens. Tom Brady beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, killed him. In the game that Tom Brady was in the booth calling the game, Patrick Mahomes played like this. You might say it's not coincidental. I beg to differ, because I was thinking about that during the game. I was sitting there like, he played his worst game when Tom Brady was on the field. And he played the worst game of his career when Tom Brady was in the booth commentating his football game. I know Tom Brady had to be laughing for me to hear. It was bad. Defensively, penalties early on. They did a good job stopping Saquon. I mean, going into the game, my analysis going into this game, by the way that the Commanders were just getting ran all over by the Philadelphia Eagles, and the way that the Bills were able to run the ball against the Chiefs 2 weeks ago in the AFC Championship game, I was sitting there saying the game plan should be pound the rock with Saquon, because the Chiefs cannot stop a cold. But I think Spags did a good job just dialing down on that this week. I think that's what he knew. That's what the Eagles were going to want to go with. So early on in the game, he was like, look, we're going to stop the run. We're going to make Jalen Hurts pass the ball. And defensively, they were able to stop the run, but they were getting thrown all over. And that is credit to Mr. Money Man himself, Jalen Hurts. And to get to the stats overall, Jalen Hurts played a great game. Jalen Hurts was 17 for 22, 221 pass yards. He averaged 10 yards a pass. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. He had a QBR of 75 and a passer rating of 119. Rushing the ball, Saquon Barkley, non-existent. He had 25 carries for 57 yards. It didn't even feel like he had 25 carries, and he only averaged 2.3 yards per carry. You know, not the Super Bowl moment he wanted, but at the end of the day, he went home with a ring. I mean, come on. And Jalen Hurts was effective using his legs. He had 11 carries for 72 yards. Gainwell, garbage time yards. You know, the passing numbers isn't off the charts, but Jalen Hurts made plays when he needed to make plays. And we're going to get to the Kansas City Chiefs side of the stats, because it is just pathetic. And a lot of this is garbage time yards, especially for Patrick Mahomes. 21 for 32, 257 yards, 8 yards per pass, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them being in garbage time, 2 interceptions, threw a pick 6 to Cooper DeJean. He was sacked 6 times. He had a quarterback rating of 11. That is awful. His passer rating was 95. And they were not able to run the ball at all. Pacheco looked like he didn't even know how to run the football. Kareem Hunt, 9 yards. Isaiah Pacheco, 7 yards. Samaje Perine, 1 carry for 8 yards. And Patrick Mahomes, he ran the ball 4 times for 25 yards because he was having to scramble out of pocket every time because he didn't have time to throw the ball. And I don't think he did a good job seeing the field well because I saw a couple decently open routes that you're used to Patrick Mahomes seeing and being able to get the ball to. And Xavier Worthy, he had 157 yards, but 2 of those were garbage time. And that's the story of the game. I mean, the Chiefs looked awful. If you were a Chiefs fan, I know you were throwing up watching that game last night because it was bad. It was pretty freaking bad. I mean, they made the Eagles looking like the second coming of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain. It was that bad. Looking like Mike Ditka's Bears out there. That defensive line was putting it on the Chiefs offensive line. And it threw Patrick Mahomes' rhythm off. He had no connection with Travis Kelce at all. I think Travis Kelce, he had 4 catches, but I think he probably only had 2 catches in the first 3 quarters. And, a lot of people, he said he's contemplating retirement. I really think if they would have won this game, he would have retired. But maybe since they got shellacked in the Super Bowl, he might want to try and run it back. And that's pretty much it that I can really say that I signified from this game. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP, well-deserved. Either he or Josh Sweat should have had it because I think Josh Sweat, altogether the Eagles defensively, they had 6 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 4 passes deflected, 11 quarterback hits, 1 touchdown, and 2 turnovers. That is just a recipe for just a Super Bowl win. Force the turnovers, and then you don't turn the ball over. Jalen Hurts had 1 terrible turnover because Nick Bolton got in his face. But outside of that, Jalen Hurts played the best game, just like he did in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Give credit to where credit is due. Jalen Hurts just, when it's the big game, he just shows up and he shows out. I mean, you cannot lie. When the lights are bright and the lights are on, he produces. And I think he's had a chip on his shoulder ever since he got benched a couple years ago. And it's just been weighing on him for the longest time, and he was ready for the moment. He knew going into this game, I got to be the reason why we win. They're going to try and stop Saquon. The refs are not going to be on our side. We got a bullcrap penalty call in the first drive when I threw it on 4th and 2 to A.J. Brown on the right sideline for 30 yards. But guess what? They played clean football. They didn't put the game in the refs' hands, and they blew them out. It was the most boring Super Bowl of all time. It was just as bad as the Seahawks versus Denver Broncos Super Bowl back in 2013 or 2012, 1 or 2, or 14. I can't remember. It was one of those. It was that bad. It was the highest deficit in a Super Bowl since that game. The Super Bowl was boring, and it was trash. It was not exciting for the general audience who are not fans of either of these teams. I know Eagles fans was eating it up last night. But for fans like me who just wanted a good competitive game, it's the last game of the season. Oh my God, it flew by. You wanted a nice, fun game just to be able to kiss goodbye to the 2024-2025 NFL season. And my gosh, did the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs just decide to lay an egg out there on the field last night in New Orleans? I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if they had a little bit too much going on in Bourbon Street. It is New Orleans. A lot of food, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking. Maybe a little bit laid over. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. A little bit hungover. I don't know. But it was bad. It was bad. 34-0 in the Super Bowl. Reigning back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Same offense for the most part. I don't know. So, and that is the end of the 2024-2025 NFL season. It was a beauty being it with you guys. Let's get a little sentimental here. It's sad to see it go. It was a beautiful season. I was able to do this stuff with you guys, and hold on, it's a little emotional. It's just a little emotional. we're not gonna have football for 6 months. And I started the channel a couple years ago, and it's been a fun ride. What are we talking about? We got the NFL draft. Hold on, let's get a little just get the vibes back. We got the NFL draft coming up in a couple months. We already know what's going on with that. We got to give you all my draft analysis. Got the NFL offseason, a lot of trades, a lot of free agents. We'll see how that goes. And the NFL offseason is always the gift that keeps on giving. We're going to have a lot of things, especially leading up to the draft. And then back in May, getting to the summertime, speculation on who's the best teams. So, yes, is the football season over, but we got a lot of things that's going to happen in the offseason to keep everything up and going. I just want to take this time to thank you guys for joining me for the NFL season. I slacked this year overall on my content. I really didn't get to do what I wanted to do because I never really had I never had a good plan going into the season on how I wanted to shape out my content. So I was very Cowboys focused, and when the Cowboys started losing games, I never wanted to focus on doing anything else. So going into the playoffs, I found my pacing, and sadly, I didn't think of doing this, and I didn't think of doing that early on in the season. So we would have probably had a bigger audience and probably been well off into the YouTube channel. But everything happens on purpose, and I am a huge believer in that. So I just want to take this time for thank you guys for joining me for the podcast itself. This was the single reason why I even explored doing the podcast, and it's the best decision I ever made, and I'm super happy with it. Thank you guys again for joining me, and we got a bright future ahead of us.